I'll hand you back to Ciaron. And Ciaron has given us, when I spoke and read that message about conditions that Julian Assange faces, you've already heard it all. So thanks, Ciaron, for your speech earlier. It made mine so much easier and so much shorter. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to have a little more artistic expression. First is Nigel give us a song, and then be ecumenical, Reverend Hellfire, and then a speech by John Jiggens. And after that, if people would like to come up and make short statements, probably limited to 5 minutes, we'll have a kind of open platform. Does that make sense? You're all individuals, yes? Beck? Thank you. Here's Nigel.
Thanks, Ciaron. I'll shorten this a bit. Get that up there. Don't forget the word. All right.
You can come this way. Turn this mic on.
I'd like to also acknowledge the traditional owners and the elders past and present. I suppose, being 50, I just turned 50, it's very surprising to me. It's surprising that Julian's there and in prison for so long, and I've lived my life in the town, where he's bounced around, and it's just, the parallel of difference is astonishing to me. Anyway, so I live here in my first world privilege, and thank Julian for standing up for human rights, and I'd just like to express my complete disappointment in the journalists in Australia who have just the most basic, I thought, established truth that Ciaron said, and this has been denied, and I didn't think that was the Australia I was brought up in. I was just shocked, and it's gone it's a quarter of a century, hasn't changed. So I'm really disappointed anyway. Bring Julian home. Bring Julian home. No go slow now, Mr. ScoMo. Get that President Joe on the blower. Let him know extradition's no go. Let him know, tell him so. Extradition, it's a no-go. Please bring Julian. Please bring Julian. Show some mojo, Mr. ScoMo. Get that President Joe on the blower, mate. Let him know he's a citizen of Australia. Journalism is no crime, so tell him, mate, it is time. Bring Julian home, bring him home. Please bring Julian home. Bring that Julian home. You gotta bring Julian home. Let him go and bring him home. Get that President Joe on the lower hand. Tell him that he belongs to Australia. Hey, mate, tell him straight. Bring Julian home. I let him go. Bring Julian, let him go. You gotta bring Julian home.
Thank you, Nigel. And next up, we have Reverend Hellfire, and followed by John Jiggens, and then a kind of open platform thing. So, you know, even if you want to get up and make a short statement about how this Julian's predicament has affected you. Those reflexes are still going on. Please do. So, Reverend Hellfire.
Nightmare dream police, as cruel as cats, come prowling into my room, go pouring through the cupboards and clothes, yowling, "Where is it? You know you've got it here somewhere." They don't say what it is, but I plead innocence anyway, on the off chance it might be true. A game of cat and mouse and shoes. Go on, they purr. Make a break for it. We like you. We'll look the other way. But I play dead. Dead, dumb, and deaf. So then they try and get me to squeal. But there's no rats in my family, I tell them. No dogs either. Thwarted then, they leave, scowling like vaudeville villains, yowling, "We'll be back, we'll get you next time." We'll get it next time. They still haven't said what it is. But later, driven by the remorseless algorithm of need, I go running rat-like through the maze of streets, pursuing forbidden cheese, while watched by the harsh, unblinking stare of cameras following my every movement. Somewhere cold clinicians bearing clipboards note down my responses, shake and bake the facts down to the perfect algorithm of control. And then the engineers can come and build a better mousetrap. That's for Julian.
Very good.
Thanks for gathering here today in the name of Mr. Assange, beastly treated. I'll take up your attention with two more poems. The first one dedicated to the original guardians of this land. I wrote it over 30 years ago on Australia Invasion Survival Day, on Australia's bicentenary. It is, as you will come to hear, a kind of prophecy. Now, 40 odd years later, you may judge as to the accuracy. It's called The Land. They would not curse the land, though we pushed them to the edges of extinction in our greedy exploitation. They loved it far too much for that. They would not lay down trapdoor, tripwire curses, or poison waterholes. Just told us in words we would not learn to hear for at least 200 years that the land will turn from you if you don't listen. Bad luck to try and harm the land. The land will hate you if you try. It was the land itself that rose up long after the others had been led away in neck irons to graveyards, prisons, shanty towns and slums. Rose up against us where we tried to tame it. Grains would not grow where once the native grasses waved. Sheep and cattle starved where once the native animals prospered. Where trees were felled and cities raised, the rain no longer fell. The old paintings were not renewed, and the seasons fell apart. We remembered nothing of the others' knowledge, disdained and forgot what savages knew, and went and built a cage of rectangles and cubes and prison farms to be worked behind barbed wire. Unloved, the land turned in upon Unloved, the land turned in upon itself and showed us only its indifference, hostile as we blundered, sweating through a landscape made of heat and dreams, cursing in our desperation a land we never tried to understand. We ignored its beauties, its warnings, its mysteries, and were glad to be content with a vision bland, one vast, unending suburban plan. Rose up against us, would suffer no more indignities, swept the poisons from the air with the wind wings of storm, flushed the rivers clean of all our toxins, and swept away the petty floodplain clutterings. And we cried in surprise, "Oh, apocalypse, disaster," and cursed the unnaturalness of nature. The unnaturalness of nature. And elsewhere, sheep and cattle swarmed like lice over the denuded hillsides. The land withdrew its blessing and shriveled hot and dry in the hills, now wrinkled like the hide of some vast beast of earth and drought. And elsewhere, ice fell, where it never fell before, or sun grew hotter